Hello, this message is for someone who's depressed, who's struggling with feeling apathy, negativity, dark worldview. So, it might tie in with the previous message, be for a similar group. It was kind of a hard ass in the last message. I don't feel bad about it. So, if you don't like this kind of talk, maybe, leave. But you might want this if you want to become better. So if you're depressed, but your life is really privileged when you think about it, and you have a lot of good things, and when you look especially at the world, you just can't help but admit that you got it good, that you were fortunate, and you are fortunate, and you have a lot, and you have, tying with the last message, there's peace where you live, there's order, things are fine. You might not like what's going on a number of levels wherever you are, but you have to admit it's a stable environment. You have to admit there's a level of safety that is more overwhelming than the level of chaos. Okay, there's a dominating sense of order around you. Okay, you have resources to get your needs met. Okay, so you're depressed. You don't know why, and you may feel like what I'm getting is something about nothing in life feels exciting, and you have a negative worldview. You think the world's getting worse. This is why I think it ties with the same kinds of people from the last message. You think the world's this terrible place. And as I explained in the last message, this is simply not factually true. You're just choosing to focus on narratives and data that confirm that worldview. There's data out there that paints a different picture. You're just not looking for it. Okay? But regarding your depression is a little bit more nuanced than just your negative worldview. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're one of those people with this horrible worldview, getting educated on how much better life is now for you or the average person anywhere than it was any time in the past human history, it will no doubt benefit you and your mental state. But if this message is for you, you're dealing with not just low-grade depression, but long-term, possibly chronic depression. And how do you know it's chronic versus long-term? Well, you've been dealing with it for years, and it's become the background of your life. So when depression becomes chronic, people get in a state of complacency and acceptance of that depression. Many people actually embrace it as part of their identity, as part of their worldview. They just, there's even people, and I think I might have been one of those people when I was a teenager and I was depressed. I really might have been. So just keeping it 100% real, because I'm not above this. I've been through this, okay? Yeah, I used to think that people that were happy were stupid. And I think that's something that's a symptom of chronic depression mixed with a self-perceived intelligence, right? You think you are intelligent, which I mean, maybe you are, I am, but that doesn't mean you are being intelligent in your worldview, okay? Just because you have mental capacity doesn't mean you're actually being intelligent in the way you're applying your mental faculties, okay? And I can tell you that was particularly the case with me in my era of chronic depression. I hadn't figured out my role that I played in my depression, okay? And so even though I had the mental faculties to build a better life for myself, and I was and continue to be smart. I mean, I was smart already enough to identify patterns and understand how the world around me worked. I was so self-absorbed in a self-fulfilling negative feedback loop that I couldn't apply my mental faculties to get myself out of that loop, okay? I was too identified with the feelings. I ended up identifying with those feelings and making them my identity. And again, I feel like that's what happens to a lot of people who suffer from mental health issues, whether it's depression, anxiety, anything, okay? Any mental health disorder or challenge. Many people, the way they end up coping with it long term, when it's a chronic thing, is they make it a part of their identity, and this can be very damaging. Again, something I've been through myself. I don't want to get into it in more detail, but I could like literally make a 2-hour long movie about that, and maybe I would need a sequel. So I am very familiar with this. You become your own worst enemy when this happens, because you're limiting yourself. You're saying, well, yeah, I am always going to be this, and that because this is who I am. Now, you've decided you are a depressed, sad person, and you've also decided that's the intelligent way to be. So you've really tricked yourself into a corner of misery. That's what you've done with those mental faculties. So at that point, it is questionable whether you're being intelligent, regardless of your IQ or your mental faculties, right? Because in my opinion, being intelligent would be to use that, those mental faculties to engineer a better situation for yourself, which I'm proud of myself for having done. So you can do that as well. That's what I'm here to tell you. Not that I got it figured out. You don't. I didn't have it figured out for a long time. So I'm here to more so tell you it's worth it to put in the effort to try and figure this out. Okay? It's not just stupid people that are happy. It's actually people that have a more accurate worldview and a better handle on their own management of reality and their emotions, okay? Because as I explained in my previous video, even if you have a negative worldview, all it takes is some research to figure out that we're actually living in the best time in history that has ever happened to humankind. So it really is up to you what you're going to do with that, especially if you live in a first world country and you are middle or middle upper class. You are in a really good spot, regardless of whatever narratives you're buying into that are, justifying this depression to you, this depressive take on life. Now, you are a person, the message I'm getting is specifically from God that was important for me to communicate, is that you are a person that is very, very blessed, okay? If this message is for you, you know that too. You are depressed, and yet you know that if you sat down with a pen and paper and you try to write down all the things you have that make you fortunate, blessed, privileged, you would probably have to spend all fucking day. You know that if you got to the nitty gritty, and I'm talking the real privileges in life, like, do you have nice plumbing in the house? Do you have more than one bathroom? Do you have nice clean water? Do you have a variety of drinks? Do you have access to? You get to have your favorite nourishing foods? How far do you have to go to get these foods? Okay? Do you know that there are people, there's millions of people that spend their entire day getting water and providing clean water for their families, and I assure you it's not as nice a water as the one I'm getting. I don't have to go anywhere for water. I have water wherever I want in my house, wherever I want in town. I have access to all of that. If I start writing down all the things like that I'm fortunate for, again, I will spend all day filling fucking pages, and so will you. And I dare you to be depressed after that. I dare you. Okay? I hope this was helpful and, help you change your view of your depression.